staying very much alive. But eventually, one of the players do go down. Knocked down and out here. And the other members of Malaysia, this is the problem with how Malaysia is playing, is not close enough for them to even crossfire or even just swing out together. Regardless, this very nasty angle and trajectory is not giving or doing any favors to the Malaysian team, and they just spray out, run and gun forward, DPS as well, and just like that, grenadier kill. Oh my god, just not the best situation for Malaysia to be in. They're starting to look in an up and up fashion, but against Mongolia, it's almost so hard.
And this is exactly what we predicted a bit earlier as well. They are a force not to be reckoned with. They are on war path right now. 12 kills in the last game. Already 7 eliminations in this one as well. And we are still in the mid part of the game. The game is far from over. 29 players are still alive, 25 other than them. And now I feel like they might just end up at the game with 14 or 15 eliminations and a possibility of a chicken dinner. Right? They eliminated 2 huge giants in the game. But not just that, the use of the utility is impeccable. The way they use that Molotov and the grenade, I feel like they get the job done without using the bullet from their guns, and that is what they make that is what makes them one of the best teams out there. They rely on the utility. I haven't seen anybody use as much utility as them or in such an efficient way. But look at Chairperson, he is in a very, very difficult position right now. 70 meters away from the circle on the top of a cliff with just only person left from Vietnamese team, and with 3 players right beneath him. What is the outcome? What is the solution to get out of here? But other than that, Cambodia firing all the way on the other side towards Hong Kong, and a couple of more shots to the body and they might just get knocked down, and exactly it's going to happen. Rabbit goes down, but he's just not going to stop at the Rabbit. He's going to make sure that he might just get one more, but unfortunately for him and fortunately for Hong Kong, they're safely in the cover.
Cambodia didn't really have the greatest starts today. It was alright, but not the best. Regardless, Sky Nin puts in the damage to the Hong Kong China players, but unfortunately didn't manage to get that knock. He's still also marking the Maldives player at the same time. Honestly, a very aggressive play here, as now the other members for Vietnam, Chairperson, the last person left alive, a little bit of an accident coming through here, creative driving. We see it all over Southeast Asia, nothing to worry about. As the other members of Cambodia now just start to go a little bit more aggressive. But the team who's winning here, it's gonna be the Philippines. They love coming in the last possible moment. Master Smile starting it strong by just running over the players of Chinese Taipei. What a disrespect! But look at that, it works so well in his favor, but eventually they do punish him. And what a way to go out. The DBS a little bit too strong. Regardless, Myanmar is not in trouble. West Carry also goes down. What a turn of events, because Myanmar is out, Cambodia is also out, and on top of that, Thailand, Nepal, and Indonesia, these are some of the top performing teams. And the teams who are up here right now, Mongolia is still very much alive, Sri Lanka is still up with 4 players. I would love to see if Sri Lanka can surprise us with the chicken dinner.
8 kills, and the only team, the second team with 4 players alive. Other than that is ISSL with only 1 elimination point. Other than that, Vietnam have lost players. Chinese Taipei, Brunei, Philippines, and even Hong Kong, China, and Maldives, they have lost their players. But look at that DTF right next to HKGT. It's a 2v1 with 1 player very low in HP. He doesn't have a first aid kit or a bandage. I don't know what's taking him so much time in order to heal his health up, and I can totally understand why. He doesn't have anything in his backpack, not a single thing that can help him in his getting his health up. And there's 2 first aid kits on the other side of on the DTF, but I feel like his teammate might not have much as well to work with. Can he pull off a 1v2? He does have a couple of good amount of health to support him. Shots are being fired through the smoke, nothing gets connected. Even Gia just takes a peek to get the shot done, but obviously he's back into the cover. They have to be careful about the fact that 80 meters away from the circle, the player coming from the other side gets spotted. Shots are being fired, but unfortunately not his shotgun was on point this day. He misses 2 of his shot and got punished for it, and now he gets eliminated from the game.
I don't think he was actually expecting someone to be up there. Regardless, Rankit still on a rampage. Hasn't slowed down at all. If you remember yesterday, he was the team's top performer alongside Mon Boy Pai. Now, putting our attention onto the Mongolian team here, they are on the aggressive immediately. The Sri Lankan players, Jimmy, will be clipped and knocked at the same time. But not too far away is also Brunei. These teams have to take this fight in order to push into the circle if they want to be able to survive for a long time. Now he's just trying to run for his life. Unfortunately, he was a little bit too far away from his teammates, and Doc 99922 will be happy with not only only the refresh of loot, but also with another point. 9 in the bag for Mongolia, and I have to say, probably the frustration of starting the day very, very slow is just really showing in their gameplay. They started off to say, okay, we started off very slow today, we weren't able to survive together, what was our problem? And I'm not sure how they're able to really pull themselves together in such a short amount of time, given the fact that they were still playing the games in the middle of the breaks. I mean, the breaks today were like, what, less than 5 minutes long, but they were still able to really take the time to reflect on their mistakes, and it shows truly in their gameplay how they're surviving up to the top 16, how they have 9 eliminations already, and just holding down this compound where they're able to not only gain information but also get those picks. Xuan nearly gets picked out here by Totter, but I think that there is at least going to be an answer from his teammates Peng.
Chairperson still surviving despite the fact he was in an impossible situation, the top of the cliff, surrounded by 3 players just beneath him. I don't know how he got himself out of that very sticky situation, but looking at that, Sri Lanka team is comfortably in the cover, shooting all the way across to the other part of the circle, on trying to land some shots on Philippines team. They have their eyes set on the Chinese Taipei as well, trying to scout out much more players. They have an idea for players just right beneath them. Chairperson on the other hand, he's just trying to get his foot in the circle. He's, I think, 20 or 30 meters away, but unfortunately in this stage even covering 20 or 30 meters is a very, very difficult job, especially if you are the last person alive, and he's hopeful nobody spots him. Philippines is also in the cover as well. He's trying to get a bit of a peek. Unfortunately couldn't get anything done. Now he's just also trying to spot players from 4MV who's on top of that building. Apex 922, I really hope he doesn't peek, and as soon as he just showed a body part of himself, he got punished for it down to 50% HP, but now I feel like he's back in the cover and pull off those bandages as well. And look at that, Chairperson, as we're talking about his survivability status, it just got down.
Ramon still putting in a lot of pressure into Chinese Taipei. It's really hard for them to really move anywhere because even the Philippines, regardless of them being able to pressure Chinese Taipei, the Philippines are being pressured by Mongolia. This is a nice angle they have. It's high ground. It gives them a lot of cover. Also gives them information they need. They can mark so many different players and angles entering and exiting the circle, but the circle is going to pull a little bit more to the southern side, so like it or not, they're going to have to leave the area very soon, and leaving that area, because it's such a high area, it's going to be so painful. Now, as one person runs forward here, it's going to be Piastao. A little bit of a ball play coming through here, playing alone in front of 3 players. I don't know, man. Sorry, 3 players. I don't know, man. They still is very aware that one has been knocked. Piastao trying to put in that pressure, regardless of being the last player alive. 4 players already knocked out, and he wants his one to put in the bag before he goes eliminated. Now with his weapon here, he does spray out, but 3 people swinging out at the same time. A little bit hard for you to counter that, but you're now down to our top 5 as Mongolia with 1 player knocked down. No worries, can be picked off here, but Ramon, I'm not too sure if his teammates are able to go toward him. It's such a flat, open area, and if they were to cross Mongolia, they're gonna be very, very aware and will not hesitate to spray. Ramon slowly pushing out of the area, and now as the other members of Chinese Taipei look around, they're trying to figure out how exactly they can actually not only start this fight but take control of the area. As I spoke that, Doc 922 finds Totter, Lucifer as well, down and out. Not the best situation for Chinese Taipei for Sri Lanka to be in, as Mongolia is just gatekeeping them from the circle and getting those picks.
I mean, the only 2 teams who had the potential of getting the chicken dinner, one of them just went down. Sri Lanka team lost 2 of their players to the 4MV, and now they are the only team with the most strength and the most advantage in the game to secure the chicken dinner and the most points within the game. 130.5 points right now, 11 elimination. I feel like they are just a terrific team right now. Obviously, he spot like my last player from ISSL takes him down and eliminates them from the game. 2 players for Philippines, 2 players for Chinese Taipei, 1 player for Hong Kong, China. I feel like they are the team with the most resilient. Always and always, somehow their players survive and make it to the last stages and get their team in a very comfortable position. But as a very comfortable news, the good news for Brunei, the only team that was or like the teams that are able to contest their position, like Vietnamese, Thailand, and Nepal, they got eliminated right in the early stages of the game. So nothing concerning for them, even if they get eliminated number 6 with only 4 points, that they're comfortable in the top 3. They have to be concerned about the last game. But looking at that, the second last player from China's Taipei goes down. Only one left behind. 4MV is slowly and steadily just cleaning this map of the enemy players. They are not doing too much. They're just trying to find these players in the long distance and securing those eliminations, which just shows how good they are. It's not they have a very huge advantage, they are like getting a 1v2. No, it's just those knocks coming in from these really far distances, and those players from 4MV, that just make them a very good team.
Very quiet all around. It's gonna be very difficult. Such an open area, but Apex, our Grenadier, doesn't seem like it's gonna stop. But for the Philippines, 2 players still left up here. Rankit, spoke too soon. Rankit gets blown up to smithereens. Mongolia strikes again. They're just so aware. The game sense just on a whole other level. And immediately, as soon as one player gets knocked out, you see them start to push out here. But look at that, Monboy. He answers back. He picks up the kill. And just like that, Mongolia has to answer. Dot putting in as much pressure as he can, and they're running out of HP, and eventually they have to let go. 3rd place for the Philippines, and this is something that is just so good for Mongolia because they want to show that they're still so much up there with 16 eliminations in the bag. What can Hong Kong do? Look at the amount of pressure, look at the amount of firepower on top of that nade, that molly that's come out here for Xiao Jia. How are you going to push out? All he has is just one last band-aid. His shield's almost done and out. No throwables, no smokes. All he can do is just try to tank it. If he's able to isolate the fights, great. He's holding down these areas. But East is just slowly making his way forward. Proning. He can go for the backstab if he wants to. The idea here is to get a nice angle to work with. Xiao Jia nearly goes down. East putting in that damage. Final band-aid used. But here comes another throwable straight to him. Thankfully, doesn't hit him quite yet. But the pan comes out. Where does it go?
Oh my God.
He tries to trick them with the distraction. Doesn't happen. Xiao Jia unfortunately eats up the damage from that nade. He's running out of time. East rushes forward. But he still will play for cover. But Xiao Jia eventually does eat the nade. And Mongolia takes another chicken dinner for tonight.
I mean, it did make look a bit difficult right in the end, but the way these two players played, they didn't make themselves vulnerable. They slowly and steadily tried to sandwich player from Hong Kong is Xiao Jia easily in, and with a good nade coming in where the player couldn't move left and right as well. And even if he saw the nade coming in, if he ran away from it, he would have left his cover, making sure that he's got his gets his bullet onto him and eliminated from the game. So it was a very well performance by 4MV, but this is exactly what we feared for all the other teams that were looking to end up in top 3. 17 eliminations from their side, 27 overall ranking. Obviously they have done like 3000 damage, and other than that they will be definitely ending up with 150 points in this game, or maybe 147 or 148 points. But that is not a point of discussion right now. The point of discussion is they have taken away the potential of being in the top 3 from a lot of teams. Vietnamese team, Thailand, especially Nepal. Nepal, obviously, they got eliminated by the hands of Team Thailand, but Thailand was the team that got eliminated at the hands of Team 4MV, and 4MV was responsible for taking Brunei out as well. 4MV was responsible for taking Chinese Taipei out, along with that ISSL out as well. They were responsible for taking Vietnamese team out as well, along with that Hong Kong. So slowly and steadily, they are just shifting the tide towards themselves and be the deciding factor. They're not letting anybody else decide what is going to happen other than themselves.
Yeah, I think that in this situation, this big gap done already by Mongolia is not only just solidifying them into the next stage, the main event, but also a big statement for this tournament in general, where a lot of players do have to watch out for these teams. Now, I was looking a bit at the scores for Group A when we first started the day. It looks like for KGZ, they started out very strong, like a big lead. And now suddenly, we saw the lead is being overtaken by them by Pakistan. And now, but the thing is, it is a back and forth between these two nations, which is honestly very interesting and does keep me. I can see you so excited there because you did talk about Pakistan in PUBG Mobile a lot, about how dominant they can be. And at first, I was like, okay, I wasn't sure if Pakistan was behind KGZ at that point. But then when I looked at the points again, Pakistan is honestly coming back swinging on day 2, and it's starting to make me feel or believe that Pakistan might need some time to figure out how exactly to play against a team like KGZ. Regardless, I'm really hoping the next time, if we're able to cast this, I hope that this is on broadcast, because I would really love to see more of MENA PUBG Mobile. Well, coming back into Group B though, for today, I'm actually quite surprised at the outcome, not only for the Philippines, but also for Brunei and Nepal, because again, Nepal they left too early, and we were just talking about them yesterday. We talked a lot about how Nepal is the powerhouses, very consistent, survivability is there on top of them really being able to pick off teams. But suddenly today, they feel very, very lost, and I think it's because they were not expecting these teams to just really amp up in terms of firepower, in terms of survivability, in terms of aggression on day number 2. And I think that this is something a lot of teams need to figure out, because when you look at teams like Thailand, when you look at teams like Indonesia that look better today, because I would call them a slow cooker team that take a while to figure out how each team plays, and once they do, you better watch out.
And that is exactly what happened. Team DRS wasn't getting eliminated in the second part of the game or the third part of the game. Even on the second day, the match number 4 and 5 was the really turning point for them, in a bad way, by the way.
No.
Team DRS got eliminated in the map of Haringey right at the start, where they got they got caught out in the rotation by 2 different teams that were looking a bit more aggressive than they usually are. In the map of say Myanmar right now, Thailand did what they usually won't do. They wouldn't go to rush into a warehouse, taking out the best team, possible best team in the game, just to secure more elimination. DRS did not expect this at all. That is obviously not like, oh, this is not their fault. So some part of the blame falls onto them, for they did not expect the aggressiveness that could happen at the end of the day number 2. At the end of the final day, you expect these things to happen. You expect the team going out of their way to secure those elimination points. So the handbook gets out of there, like in the last day, in the last matches as well. DRS could not predict that. They got punished for it, and in these 2 last games, they were able to secure only 3 to 4 points. But these were the games they should have been securing at least 8 to 9 points to make sure they end up in top 3. And now, unfortunately, they are ending up in a very sticky situation where they are probably not qualifying into the finals of WEC Championship.
Honestly, I think Brunei is surprising me the most. And I think it's because my storyline comes from SEA Games, the day where they were supposed to qualify, the only country that sent 1 team instead of 2. And the same roster that didn't qualify by 1 singular point. And I think that for them, coming into IESF, and showing us this, I would say, this gameplay or this dominance especially, is just proving to us, at least from SEA Games, that this is our real firepower. You just gotta give us a little bit more time to tell our story. And I think that it's so great to see them to show their firepower, because I think there was a while that I noticed that players from Brunei are usually picked up by teams from Malaysia, from Indonesia. And I was wondering, like, okay, for Brunei, do they not have their own teams? What is going on here? But that wasn't the case, because they definitely are very talented despite being a very tiny country. Now, holding that thought, let's have a look at the team stats here, where Mongolia was just really dominant. I mean, Dot92 was definitely a player that I did have my eye on yesterday in terms of aggression, but Apex was the one who was really stealing the show, right? I mean, especially we saw the 13, 14 picks in that one map, and we're like, whoa, what is going on? But this particular map, it feels like it's a very, I would say, even across the board. But if you look at the style of play coming in here from Mongolia, it's all about control. It's all about, I would say, aggression from each and every player. When every player is putting that amount of pressure coming in toward every single team, it's hard to really figure out how to counter that kind of play, because you have no clue where to look. But the head-to-head here will be against Mongolia and Hong Kong, China.
Obviously, look at the difference between both of these top 2 teams. 17 eliminations by Mongolia, 5 only eliminations by Hong Kong, China. No assist and only 18 damage. I mean, Doc had more damage than Hong Kong China collectively. He had 1000 damage, 1092 maybe damage by himself, and that is what we want to talk to you about as well. When you said KO, that team has a collective effort is what I completely agree on. Even like Chinese Taipei, when I saw that Hong Kong China along with the team, there's only one player that shines sometime that gets them a good amount of top point, but never ever we have seen a whole team perform like that. By looking at the player stats comparison, it's going to be Zhao Ji with only 4 elimination, 576 damage dealt, 2 knockout and 27 minute 34 second survival time, as compared to Doc92. He is in a league of his own. 3 more eliminations, almost the double damage, 5 more knockouts, and some amount of the survival time more than him. But what a wonderful performance by both of these two players.
Honestly, in this situation, it's not even fair when you think about, comparing these two teams, right? I mean, in terms of firepower, in terms of aggression. But in this situation, I cannot blame anyone, because Mongolia was just so dominant. It's really hard to say how exactly another team will be able to come up on top. And in this situation here, I mean, I was talking to Fixes just now. I said, I have never seen a player that is more aggressive than Apex in my life. I've never seen a player play as aggressively as Apex in my life. And he goes, you know what? This is just another day in South Asia. This is how we usually play in terms of aggression, in terms of how dominant we are, in terms of putting in that pressure. This is what you would usually see from the country itself. And I think that is a very scary thought, because for me, coming in from Southeast Asia, thinking that Vietnam's firepower was one of the strongest I've ever seen, this opens up for a whole new world. And speaking for a whole new world, our MVP is going to be Mongolia. And are you surprised to see Doc92 here? Given the fact that he was able to not only take up space, but also put in the aggression and also put in so many picks, given the fact that they were able to play and survive as a 4 almost toward the end. Because that is crazy.
Top performers, Doc obviously 922 at the number 1, with obviously getting 7 eliminations in the last game here at number 1 with 32 in total, having the most survival time in the game. He's just not good with the firepower, he's also very good with the survivability and game sense. Then we have Mongolia again with Apex 922 at number 2 with 27 elimination, almost the same amount of survival time. But look at that, the difference between A and V players is like Mongolia is not just like in terms of elimination, the survival time is like half an hour more in these two players compared to their third player. That is something that I exactly want to see. Why is that in between this team? Is the guy just a bit more aggressive, that he has like almost 35 less minutes survival time, although he's really good with elimination as well. But look at that, Ranked is at number 3 with 22 elimination. Then we have ESP Shako at number 4 from Brunei with 21 elimination and like 3 minutes 9 minutes 55 seconds survival time. But for now, we have the match time. We'll have the match standing in front of us. Obviously, it's going to be Team Mongolia at number 1. Probably with 27 points, 10 elimination, 10 placement point and 17 elimination. What a dominating performance. Look at the second team. They only able to get 11 points.
Regardless, coming into this, it's almost unfair when you see how far away Mongolia is. 27, so far ahead of everyone. But I have to say, it's a very interesting way to end the night, because if you look at in terms of standings, in terms of elimination points, most of them have been toward Mongolia. The rest were all able to get like 5-4 picks as well, given the fact that it was just so competitive, because almost everyone was getting a point toward the end of the night, or elimination toward the end of the night. But let's have a look at the overall settings to see what exactly has changed here. And Mongolia just really putting that lead up there, about what, 40, 50, over 50 points ahead of everyone. That's a good 2 maps ahead. So I can say that first place solidified. But what about second and third place here? I almost think almost solidified, because at 96 points and 91, perhaps there will be a shift here between these two, the second place and the third place. But Nepal to chase, very hard. Very hard, especially on Sanhok.
Oh, very. I mean, the only possibility of Nepal actually taking down the lead, it's difficult. Vietnam, obviously, they need to secure 16 points. They need to get a winner chicken dinner, making sure that Brunei doesn't get 5 to 6 points. That is the condition. Nepal takes it away from Brunei as well. Or maybe just Nepal goes all in the hard way, just like just the way that Mongolia went with 27 points, 17 elimination, 10 placement points. This is the kind of game that could make sure that is a possibility that and Nepal and Vietnam could end up in the top 3. But again, that is going to be very difficult. Considering that's the map of Sanhok, you don't get a lot of elimination in the game, and you probably get like third party or you get caught out in a very risky position. But coming to the match schedule, we're done with the 5 games, only left with the last game is going to be map of Sanhok. It's going to the deciding match, and it is going to be very interesting, very unpredictable, and I feel like that is the right match to decide who's going to be the top 3.
Man, even though Malaysia is currently on the last place, not being able to make it on day number 1, but the fact that they got a chicken dinner is making me very, very happy. But let's see if they're able to do that again, at least to end the night, because we're going to go for a quick break. Sanhok waiting for you at the end after this.
दाइ तपाईँ भोलि कता अफिस जानुहुन्छ कि होइन यसो त्यसो घुमेर एप्पल कार्ड लिएर तार एप्पल कार्ड भन्ने के हो एप्पल कार्ड लिएर त्यो बिजनेसमा गर्नु होला नि भाइ ब्रदर मेरो पोल्यान्डको वर्क पर्मिट छ मैले ल्याएको भने 2-4 महिना भयो तर मैले उताबाट एउटा दाइले एप्लाई गरेको अपार्टमेन्टको लागि अहिलेसम्म अपार्टमेन्टै आएको छैन त्यो क्यान्सल गरेर नेपालबाट अपार्टमेन्टको लागि एप्लाई गर्दा हुन्छ कि त यो वर्क पर्मिटले गर्दा
Final map, Sanhok, everything that has happened from yesterday till today for the IESF PUBG Mobile Tournament comes down to this. Mongolia solidified their lead, but the question now is, who will get the second and third place. Tash Bunny here alongside RZ, your casters for today, and this is gonna be a good one.
Definitely, with especially the Mongolian boys, is absolutely making it difficult for anybody else to take the lead or to actually make sure they end up in top 3. I feel like it's going to be very interesting. Team from Nepal and definitely team from Vietnam. They're going to try their utmost best that they end up with a very good game to at least qualify for the championship that is going to be happening in Romania, with 130 teams actually participated in this tournament. It has been a very interesting ride so far, with a lot of plot twists that have been happening throughout these whole 2 days. But obviously, it has come down to this last game, and there are 3 perspectives that has been running at hand here. Obviously, with the Mongolian team again dominating the lobby. Or the second team that's like Brunei or Philippines, that just making sure nobody else qualify. Or the third perspective, the third narrative is that Vietnamese team or just Nepal team come out of nowhere and take away the game with good amount of elimination and qualifying. So that is just what might happen, and I'm very interested in the second and third potential, not the first one though.
Okay, if we want to talk about trends, the Sanhok has been unexpected, right? Yesterday, Brunei got the first chicken dinner for Sanhok, and I thought, okay, it was a lucky thing. And then Brunei started to go online. And I think that particular moment was the catalyst that kind of gave them that morale boost they needed to play as aggressively as they did. Now, for the end of yesterday, Indonesia got the chicken dinner for Sanhok. And it was a very strange circle that I don't think I've ever seen in my life, because it was a tiny island right between the 2 islands. And I think that, be a circle that ended up there was definitely not on my books. It wasn't something on Indonesia's books, but it worked out in their favor. So I would say that was definitely a gamble that worked out for them. But in terms of it being a catalyst for them, I have to say not quite yet, because Indonesia has pop-off moments, but survivability-wise, not so great. Regardless, as we come, I wasn't too sure what happened in the final. We saw that Malaysia got that final one in Sanhok, but at the same time, it's easier for me to say why Malaysia got that is because for some reason, whenever I watch PMSL or PMSLC, Malaysia tends to do well on Sanhok. I'm not sure why this is a mindset, but perhaps it's a smaller map that works well with their style of play. But now, as we go into this final one, I really want to see Malaysia get one. I mean, it's kind of cool to have Malaysia getting 2 chicken dinners one day, is number 1. And number 2, as a team that didn't play 6 maps yesterday, it might be a good morale booster for them to say that this is what we can offer on the table, regardless of whether or not we played day 1.
But you are right about one thing. When you talk about Malaysia, you talk about another category of teams. That is just like Maldives, that includes Cambodia, that includes Chinese Taipei, along with that Hong Kong, China as well. These are the teams that are probably not going to qualify. What are these teams going to do? They're not just going to sit obviously in their benches, in their homes and compounds and just gonna wait it out. So this is just gonna make it more difficult for the teams like Nepal and Vietnamese, the teams that are looking to qualify into the championship, into the LAN event. I feel like probably this might be one of the most difficult games these 2 teams might have ever played when we talk about DRS and when we talk about Team Thailand. They have to do something out of the box. They have to be very strong in what they believe in. Their communication has to be on very peak, just to fight 3 different category of teams who have nothing else, just to make sure they put you down. Not obviously intentionally, but that is their goal unintentionally and directly, and you are the one coming in as a collateral damage. So I feel like you, as a team that could potentially qualify, this could be a very, very important game for you.
Yeah, I think that, if you want to talk about qualifying, Sanhok it's very hard to farm for eliminations. It's tough because you have teams fighting all around, and it's not necessarily a place where you can take 4 and 4s, but in a lot of situations it will be stolen. I can almost 80% say that some of your picks will be stolen if you're not quick enough, because this map is small. It enables some long range play, and even with a scope, you can have just a mid range gun. It will still be enough for you to steal. Now, there's also the situation of third party. Why? Because some players can just hold the top side of the area, let this fight happen toward the bottom side of the lower side, and just come down, throw in those nades and steal them off one by one. So teams that will really, I would say, come up on top are the teams who are very, very I would say, opportunistic. And we've seen this happen from Myanmar a lot. I think Myanmar has definitely been one of those teams, Vietnam as well, but Vietnam hasn't been too lucky. Regardless, I mean, with 10 points between Vietnam and Nepal, I think Nepal can rest a little bit easy about being chased from behind, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see a different type of Vietnam play as we go into this particular map. We've seen it happen before in the SEA Games. We've seen it happen before in PMSL, PMPL. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a shift in mindset, because when they play, when they decide to change up how they play, it has been pretty drastic. They can go for a super aggressive team who rotates and just farms as many eliminations as possible to a team that's a little bit more conservative, a little bit more going for placements. So these are very true drastic changes, but the fact that they're able to quickly adapt to it and change and just hold the brakes, it's quite insane, because it means that a lot of teams cannot predict what to expect from them in terms of rotations, or even what to expect when they want to go for a take, or what to expect when they get shot at.
And when you talk about this tournament and that team in particular, I feel like we have seen the team that the strategy don't usually play. We haven't seen Vietnamese team playing very passive throughout the whole day, throughout the whole tournament as well. This is a team that has been known to fight along the way, that when you talk about those end circle, they only have 1 or 2 players left fighting it or battling it out to like striving for that chicken dinner as well. And they have some decent amount of eliminations along the way as well. But yeah, this has been their strategy so far, and I am hopeful. I want that this should be their strategy in the last game, since sitting down like ducking and playing passively might not work for them, will definitely not work for them, as they are the team that has to make the most jump to make the qualify. But I feel like when you talk about this game, you have to let go of every attachment. Even for Nepal team, the potential of them getting chased from behind and the potential of them like qualifying or not qualifying. It is very simple math, Tash. This is a game you need 25 points. None other than this would work. No other strategy, no other thing would work. You need these 25 points. Get it or not.
I think that's also a benchmark for them, because they also, instead of just the 25 points, they also have to worry about the other teams catching up to them as well. So it's not about just getting that 25 points, it's solidifying their lead. And in this situation, there has to be, I think going into the game, they really need an idea on how exactly they want to approach this. Because if you think about it, like, okay, if we go into this game, we need 25 points. What is the most important? You get 10 points. That's almost half of the total amount of points here just by getting that chicken dinner. So the first objective is to survive. Number 2, how aggressive do we want to play? Do we want to just catch anyone in the mid of rotation, or are we actively going to go around and just annihilate everyone we know? And if we want to play that style, what can we expect? How exactly are we going to go for takes? In what style do we want to go for the aggression? Are we going to go crash into compounds, or are we going to take a lot more open fights on the side of the terrain? So this also determines what kind of rotation they're going to play. So that's why I say, like, even though like when people say that PUBG Mobile is all about surviving, it's more than that. There's a lot of different ways and strategies to approach it. It's so many different layers, and it's almost like a game of chess, honestly. And this game of chess is very, very ongoing, because everyone is moving their pieces at the same time. You have to be able to predict, and it's very difficult because, as you know, a lot of maps, especially at Sanhok, very hard to difficult in terms of flight path, in terms of the circle, and you have no idea what to expect from teams, especially in the last match here, when you have no idea expectation. Because when you have teams that have nothing to lose, what are they going to do? Are they going to hunt you down? Are they going to stop you? Are they going to be the reason that you lose one player so very early? It's terrifying, and especially for the teams who have nothing to lose, they can come into the game with a different mindset, and sometimes these teams with a different mindset can be very scary, because I've seen it happen before from a Filipino team that didn't make it, and they went around just annihilating everyone. And my question was, dude, why weren't you playing like this from the beginning? Hello?
I mean, that has been the question. The mindset matters a lot. But 2 things that I want to think about is, like, first of all, is like the PUBG in generally, there is not a single handbook. Like, oh, these are the things that you need to do to end up as a good game. There's not a single strategy that you can employ. You need to have multiple strategies, adapt to the game to come up with a good outcome. That is what makes PUBG very terrifying, very competitive, very interesting as well. But the second thing as we talk about these teams, the potential of the teams that have nothing to lose and everything to gain, this is a good mindset. But I expected this mindset from the team in the last game and the game before that as well. For example, Cambodia, Sri Lankan teams, ISSL team like Dynasty Pi as well. I was expecting that while going into these three last games, they will be going out of their way and knocking down everybody if they can, or just getting eliminated at the virtue of being aggressive. But unfortunately, I didn't see that. It was just one team making sure that nobody comes across them. It was just Mongolian boys just dominating the lobby again and again and again. Brunei did come close in the map of Erangel. Nobody came close in the map of Miramar. And I really hope so that somebody comes close in the map of Sandhawk, because unfortunately, as much as that is nice to those Mongolian fans, it is a bit of a downer to see that nobody else could perform in those matches that should be a close contested match, and they shouldn't be the one to decide this outcome, is what I am getting a bit sad about.
Regardless, ladies and gentlemen, now is the time that you keep your eyes on the screen, because this is a match number 12, Sanhok, the final map here for the World Esports IESF PUBG Mobile. Which team will take the top 3 spots to go to the main event, and which teams will be heartbroken is the question here. As the flight path from Lakawi all the way up to Alpha, the question now is where the circle is gonna go. It doesn't really matter in terms of drop spots here. What matters is where the circle will go, how exactly you approach the circle, and how exactly or how aggressive are you gonna be taking these fights. Because we know that Mongolia can go aggressive if they want to. They can be the change, the teams that just knock everyone out left and right, but it will be heartbreaking for the second and third place teams.
Maldives, they are right next to the team right now. Shots are being fired. Rifa is very low on HP, but they got the team from they got Amazal as well as he goes down. Hades gets his hand on Xiang as well. Now they have got 2 knockouts. Kara got knocked down at the enemy team, but I feel like he might be just able to get revived. Cambodia is not looking so good right now, with the DTF losing 1 player and Cambodia losing 2 players. A 3v2 fight. Rifa is very low on HP, doesn't have any ammo, any weapon, any gun, and now what will he do in a very sticky situation? It is going inside. Kara is also bleeding. Rifa is low on HP. Just fall down to too soon. How can you exactly make sure that your team survive? But no, Rifa is just like, oh, while I am down, I want to make sure that I secure those 2 knocks as well. Now he's just going to try to revive as his players as much as he can. But with 1 player coming outside, Joseph, he has his hand on a shotgun. Can he make sure that he gets those 4 elimination without losing himself? It's a 1v1, but with 3 players bleeding in front of him. He gets the 1, gets the 2nd. That will absolutely make sure that he gets a 3rd and 4th as well. And Team Cambodia will be the victorious one in this fight. And now the other team has to bite the dust, or bitten the dust.
Regardless, look at how aggressive this map is already. Everyone is just rushing ahead, getting as many picks as they can. From the get-go, everyone was just going in and just trying to get as many eliminations as possible, knocking everyone out left and right, making sure that getting toward the last part of the circle will be a whole easier way to come through. And I think that for Sri Lanka, I mean, I feel like I wish that we can talk about them more, because they weren't able to get the spotlight, but as we come out toward the end of day 2, we start to see a little glimmer of life from them. And this makes me so curious to see that how exactly they want to approach this. And with Brunei losing 1 player so very early, I'm not saying they're out for the count, but it does make it a little bit more hard to attain that dream of getting that chicken dinner so that they dearly want. An extra 10 points plus the elimination points way better. And to make it even worse, Chewy was knocked out of the game not only so early, they weren't able to get a trade for that. It's going to be very quiet here from Piasao as they wait out the other members of the team to just rotate out of the way. Now with this circle playing in the area between all 3 islands, this is why people have to question, should we be at Alpha Island, or should we be at Bravo Island, or should we go to the southern side? Oh man, Brunei in trouble. Mongolia, just call him the dream killer at this point. 1 knock already, just like that, and they are rushing forward. I can see that his teammate is trying so hard to go for that revive. But it looks like for Apex, nah, son. There's a reason why I'm called Apex, and it's probably because I'm an Apex predator. They are going to be trying to choke the other members around the area. And this is why it's so difficult to play this particular circle, because everyone is just so packed in between these 2 islands.
Debit card.
And basically 3 islands as well, where you cannot decide how exactly it's going to end up. But I feel like we might
त्यो
just see
मलाई यार
that
त्यो
small
मेरो
island circle as well
बिल
that
तिर्नु पर्ने भयो
Tash
10
really,
रुपैयाँ यार
really loves. She
मेरो
absolutely was
कार्डबाट
talking about
नहुने
this
भयो मेरो
circle
क्रेडिट कार्डबाट नहुने भयो
pre-game
यार
as well,
Yeah.
that she was this circle again. Want to see this team absolutely clueless on what to do and how to behave. But yeah,
हजुर?
Hong Kong China also lost one of their players without securing a single kill. GE Smile got knocked down, but I feel like he'll be revived right there.
होइन,
And then,
ब्यालेन्स
look at that,
त्यो
the teams are just moving
डेबिट
towards the
कार्डमा छैन
center,
10 रुपैयाँ
as
जति
they're not exactly choosing a single island right now. They are just trying to make sure that they are ready for any outcome. On the other side, for MB
यो
losing the
10
second
रुपैयाँ जति
player,
भएको
he
भए
got eliminated from the
त कुन
game.
तिम्रो
He'll
क्रेडिट
gets
कार्ड हो
their
कि डेबिट
first
कार्ड हो
elimination of the game. GE retaliates again against Hong Kong.
Oh,
And they secure
ATM
the
card का
second
ATM
kill.
card.
Hong Kong not looking so good in this map of Sanhok, and their last 2 games were terrific.
तिम्रो त्यो
Unfortunately
पैसा
for
हाल्नु
this,
मिल्छ मिल्दैन
their
अरूले
start was abysmal, I feel like. But yeah, those 2 players got eliminated. 2 players only left.
यस्तो कुन
kills in
कुन
their
खालको कार्ड छ
backpack,
भाइ
and
तिम्रो
now they are just moving towards GE. I don't know what is in their mind right now. Can 18 is going to be a difficult job just to take on GE all up right now.
Yeah, I think that what's really scary about Myanmar is definitely how they are
होइन
very not only
क्रेडिट कार्ड छ भने
very,
तिम्रो
I would
तिम्रो
say, high
पैसा
firepower, but it's
आउँदाखेरि
almost like
केमा
they play
आउँछ
so
त्यो
recklessly.
पैसा आउँदाखेरि
And
सिममा
that makes
थाहा
them
हुन्छ
even
कि
more
हुँदैन कि
scary when
चेक
they are just
गर्नुपर्छ
very
एटिएम
all
लगेर
in these type of fights. But Hong Kong can at least breathe a little bit easy that
त्यसो
their
भने त
aggression
कसैकोमा
will
छैन
be
रे
punished
10
number
रियल
one.
10 रियल जति
They're
म
so
यार म
susceptible
पैसा
for
दिन्थेँ नि
third parties
20
on
रियल यार
this
मेरो
particular
लाग्थ्यो
map.
नहुने
But
नहुने
you can
काम भयो यार
already see that for Rabbit and the other members of Hong Kong China, perhaps survivability would be a better way of approaching this. But scary, shoots out, no answer quite yet as Zai gonna rush forward. But look at how Mongolia is already on a killing spree. There is gonna be an answer. You can see that against
Celery कहिले
Thailand.
आउँछ?
But coming back to Mongolia again, they do want to take this fight, and immediately 10-18 sprays out, finds one.
कसैकोमा
Smile with a
त्यहाँ
zigzag,
साथीहरूकोमा पनि छैन रे
dancing
10
away
रुपैयाँ जति
from
हेर
those bullets.
भन न भाइ यार
It's so hard for him to really finish when he's just trying to throw that nade forward. Tree saves him. This is a little of a breathing space.
त्यो
And
मेरो
Master
त्यो
Ichi,
उयो के
a
पो
little
भन्छ
bit
त्यो
more aggressive. He's going for
आइफोनमा
that
बिल
long
आएको छ
rotation. He's trying to cut off Rabbit from being able to assist his teammate. Regardless, this is a very open area. And he doesn't really have cover. Bar that tree, bar a few houses, but have to be careful. Ken 18 does go down. Rabbit still holding down the line. Zai as well. He did rush down. Gets a reset. Has been picked up. But as he is the last member left alive and marked by Ichi, what is he gonna do here? What's his play? For Hong Kong, coming in at 10th place is an acceptable place for them. It's already looking so out of the way to be able to make it to the top 2.
खै
But
दाइ
again,
मैले
for
एउटा
Hong
भाइलाई चाहिँ
Kong,
भनेको
they really
खै
want to
त्यसो
make it up
पैसा छैन रे
forward
भनेको
just
त्यो
to
साथीहरूले
maybe
त्यो
go
भन
up
न
to 8th
भनेर
place, 9th place if they can. They want to try their best. And if Rabbit is able to get one pick out of this, I think it's gonna go down very happy.
But other than that, one thing that is concerning is right now that teams like Thailand, they have got like 4 kills. That is great.
Oh yeah.
But Nepal, they still have 0 elimination in their backpack. Even if they're getting a chicken dinner with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 eliminations, that might just not be enough. But look at that, GE just
Wait,
rushing in, trying to
what?
make sure. Yeah, GE just got in. They made sure that Rabbit doesn't survive for so long. They were just absolutely stalling it for no reason. And when they realized that this is just one player holding that whole
Surprise!
compound, they shouldn't be let in. But look at that, DRS. This is not what they expected at all. And opposite of that, a vehicle elimination coming in, and Israel is just here to seal the deal. He's like the death angel, maybe whatever. But yes, for now,
Yeah.
DRS is on a back foot. What an opposite of what they wanted.
He's the Grim Reaper. Style
Yeah.
points for rushing him over and just coming out of the car and just spraying him with bullets because I love seeing that. Very, very GTA-esque. Regardless, coming back to the game, Indonesia starting off really strong. You can see all these teams already stuck in the blue zone. Very, very hard to rotate, especially that body of water. Dabs will be the first one going down. DRS not going down without a fight. Some throwables will be prepped at least. The question now is whether or not Delta would actually be committing. Ezreal coming in from the other side. He can't go for the backstab if he wants to. Throws out the nade. Nice trajectory. No one is there. Cleared out. His teammates are close by. It's going to be very hard to at least get 1 point coming forward. Even with the DBS, if his teammate is around, if he doesn't clip him, he doesn't clip that teammate and gets out clean, it's not going to be the best situation. Another molly just to really zone them out of the way, so they're just flushed to the other side of the building, and Starboy forced to heal. His teammates are close by. They are separated at the very least. There is a vehicle there, but he's down to his final grenade. I don't know if he should just be kind of like betting on this because it gives away his positioning. If he's running out of resources, and the area where he has moved to is just so open. He's eating up the damage from the blue zone. If you remember, the blue zone in Sanhok has been increased in terms of damage. So he's taking up a lot of damage. Door broken. There's a situation for his teammate to actually cross. Starboy nearly goes down. Thankfully, manages to clip him and he does go down. Now the other members of Nepal Killer. He was actually knocked out so early and I was wondering, what would they do when Killer, their big impact player in the team, goes down and Killer manages to get that grenade pop onto a player, gets a knock. I'm not sure if he's able to actually secure that kill quite yet, but he's gonna run forward, he's gonna spray out, gonna be happy, one more point in the bag, and Killer keeps the dream alive. But how much longer can he go? He's running out of resources, but he does have one smoke, one molly to work with, and 2 grenades. So if he's able to properly throw this, get it to hit, and get it to pop at the right timing, this might work out in his favor because there's only 2 Indonesian players to work with till the end of the day. And even if they wanted to play the healing game for a little while as they kind of like wait this out, they don't have a lot of resources to work with. And Ezreal will be the one to start things off, rushing up forward. He does hear those footsteps. You can see that the other member of DRS is trying to heal up, trying to get as many of those drops as possible. Killer, final nade here, cooked up. Fortunately, he wasn't able to pop his first. Doesn't come down, but surprise, surprise! Starboy with the DBS. Goodbye and good night, Nepal. Only Gyante to worry about.
Oh, and with that, the Starboy falls to the play zone. He also took a lot of damage to the body. Unfortunately for DRS and for GL, this is going to be a 1v1. Ezreal is just not going to be the death of Angel of Death this time. He's just going to be a very nice Angel trying to revive his teammate, going a bit back. Jig and the teammate from the player from Nepal, he just want to make sure that he doesn't give all the time from T to GL to revive his player. He's going to get a bit aggressive. Ezreal just trying to make sure that he revives his player. But look at that. Ezreal has no first aid kit. He's low in HP as well. So this is just it for both of these teammates. Even in that case, if one of them won, I'm quite sure that they will be eliminated by the play zone. Coming from the right side, he's going for that drop shot. Stop is very low on HP. What is gone down with the play zone, and that just might be it for Ezreal as well. Might be. I think he got one first aid kit from the hand of his teammate, but now we are down to a 1v1 with both very low on HP, blue zone damaging, and I feel like both of them had just eaten both of them, like each of the teams out as well. Coming in from the left side, coming a drop shot from Ezreal. He has taken DRS out of the game, but Indonesia, this might just be it for you as well, as there is no first aid kit left for you to play and to come back into the circle.
Thailand looking so good right now though. Already 6 eliminations in the bag. 3 very much left alive, and C-Sky only. He doesn't seem like he's gonna stop. Team that they have marked right now is Vietnam. So Vietnam still alive with 4 players, and I was just talking about a change in the mindset of Vietnam, and this time around it's a little bit more passive, not as aggressive as I thought it would be. And I think this approach might have been better if they were to take it a little bit more earlier coming into the game. Regardless, our circles, especially on day 1, has been very difficult to work with. Juan, spotting out the members of Sri Lanka, Amata has been one of the players to get knocked out so very early for the team, given the fact that he likes to play a little bit more close, rushing forward in a lot of those fights. But it is enough for his teammates to sometimes just trade out. But in this situation, you want to be able to survive as 4. No one clipped quite yet. That's good trigger discipline from Get Slow. They don't want to reveal where he is, as his teammates have. Tiger did get clipped there, but it's not enough to really take him down. But for the other players from Sri Lanka, getting into boot camp is going to be a big problem. But Lucifer is playing it very smart with these roofs because he didn't even get clipped once. The one who was taking damage was just Tiger.
But look at that in the live ranking. Team Vietnamese team, like on 78 points, they need 13 more points to cross Brunei. Brunei is still surviving, so that's 2 factors. They need to eliminate Brunei whilst making sure that they at least get 13 points to qualify for like into the championship, into the LAN event. But for now, Sri Lanka team is also looking really good. They have 4 of their players alive. They have 1 elimination, surviving all the way from boot camp. They have the high ground as well, making sure they have access to a lot of information into exactly where everybody is residing. One of the players looking their flag angle. Unfortunately, he won't be finding anybody on that side since his back is completely empty, and all the players are like exactly situated in front of it with the team Hale and situated in the boot camp, and I feel like not just that's not it. ESP is also outside the boot camp team, and oh, look at the circle. It has taken a shift away from the boot camp. It's still holding that small island. It might be just the circle that we were looking for.
I don't know why, but when I used to talk to my casters from Malaysia, they always say, look at where the airdrop is. You might have an idea where the circle might be. Yeah, so maybe to the northern side of boot camp might not be the island, but I wouldn't count that area just out yet. But I think that Thailand so far is having such a good run. They're surviving for so long. They're playing a little bit more turtle shell, and with a team like Mongolia out for the count already so very early, it gives them a little bit more breathing space. If you remember, Thailand tends to get clipped by the Mongolian and Cambodian team, I believe, and also Myanmar, who are a little bit more aggressive. And I think the biggest weakness for Thailand is that once they are their, I would say, defenses, like one player gets knocked down, suddenly all of their structure gets knocked down as well. So if they're able to play as a team and survive, it works out so well in their favor. But boot camp right now, so many people want this prime piece of real estate. And with Chinese Taipei inside of the area, they're going to be neighbors for a little while, at least for a little while. But look at who's going to be proning inside. We saw Cambodia still live, 2 players left, trying to be very quiet. We can already see Sri Lanka saying, give us a piece of that land. We deserve to live in the boot camp too. And the sprays are out. Indonesian team goes and spray and just rushes through. I love this aggressive and just quick stance of just forcing themselves inside. Big bolt play by Ezreal. And on top of that, not answered quite yet, because if Thailand tries to chase, immediately Sri Lanka is the one to answer back.
Exactly. But look at that, Israel very low on HP. I still have to question myself, how did he make his way all the way from that blue zone into the circle, still surviving despite the fact that he was the last player.
How did he get inside there and not take any damage? On a buggy, hello?
And, that I feel like after that we're gonna be downloading this. Like I want to see exactly his POV. I want to see exactly what did he do to make sure that he survived till this point. But look at that, Thailand also lost one of their players. Vietnamese is the Vietnamese team, Sri Lankan team are the 2 or 3 teams that are with 4 players surviving. But Mon Boy spotted by Parajin goes down, and Israel also gets spotted. That nade might just seal the deal, and obviously it was a wonderful nade. It was the right timely nade, and with the right aim as well, take GL out of the game. Unfortunately, his long run has come to a very sad finish. But look at that, ISSL also trying to hold that farthest edge of the circle, not pushing their way in, not trying to get too much across the game as well. But ISSL has also taken a shift, and I feel like that small island is not being engulfed in the stage number 5.
Okay, that's a sigh of relief for everyone. We saw Parajin go on pick already. I mean, I don't want to jinx it for the players, you know? Especially since Mongolia are out. I think Mongolia, they're going to have an easy night. They're going to say, you know what, we're already in. So might as well just let the teams just fight it out toward the end. Regardless, for the Philippines, they're fighting for their lives. One player got out, and so is Brunei. This isn't the outcome I was expecting for Philippines and Brunei, honestly. I was kind of expecting a more aggressive sort of play, a lot more, I would say, more decisive in terms of taking up space and where they wanted to go. But again, this is Sanhok. It's really hard to make decisions so very early in terms of trying to figure out how your rotations are going to go. And now, with Cambodia coming forward, they're trying to encroach the area where Brunei is. And Brunei, they gotta hold on. Yes, coming to the fact that they are in the top 10 spot, they do at least have some placement points. If they're able to get into top 5, that will really launch them forward. Parajin will be the one who finds Joseph. I thought Joseph will be safe. I thought they might go head-to-head with the players from Brunei. That's not going to be happening quite yet. Chinese Taipei, they're playing it very safe, hiding in this corner. They do hear the footsteps of Sea Sky only. Clears it out. The Molly, just to not allow them to be in that area. He pushes out. Wait! Look in front of you! Oh my gosh, Juan. He's holding down the area with the DBS. His teammate is very close by. But Juan, like it or not, he has to hold it. Because he's playing a DBS. He has to make sure he doesn't get spotted. I think he spotted Sea Sky's head. There we go.
Oh.
Unfortunately, clips a little bit. But it does give away where he is. And now we're down to the top 5 as Brunei down and out for the count. Brunei can only just pray and hope that they still manage to make it onto the top 3. As Get Slow does find one more pick forward here. Sea Sky only. He's not done yet. He wants those picks. And he wants Chinese Taipei out of that area. Get Slow rushes out. Peng taking a lot of damage. But not just Sea Sky only. Gotta make sure that he does those pills down. A little bit of a shield just to keep him alive for a little bit longer. Juana's teammate is doing such a good job just holding down the line, but they need to get out of this area. Number one, the circle is moving away from boot camp, but their exits are being covered by the two members of Thailand. It's so very hard to figure out where exactly they're gonna go. Tiger from the top side, trying to go for the jump shot forward. Immediately, Chinese Taipei was not able to answer at all. Grenadier gets slow with that nade. Immediately, Thailand looking so very good. But look at Demigod and the Philippines. This might be their Hail Mary moment.
The only team, no, not the only team. I mean, ISSL is also surviving the 4 players. They're also in the far edge of the circle. Both of these two teams, they have to leave their cover to make sure they get inside the circle. It's going to be a very risky job. One of the players from ISSL has already started making their way in. Jimmy taking a bit of a risk, going all the way in the open to get into the circle with a huge cliff in front of him. Philippines, they have to come out of that cliff as well. They have to use that vehicle or a buggy, whatever they have to get into the circle. And now they might be just jumping into the water. Shots being fired from the other side, and Lucifer finally gets it connected. Demigod goes down, and Drankit has to make sure leaving him behind. But unfortunately for that, this is not over for Philippines. Monboy also goes down, and now we're just left with only 2 players for Team Philippines. And ISSL, they are in a really great position. They are looking at everything easily. They have a clear line of sight as well.